Hello buddy and welcome to Checkmate. My name is Niels and today I'm going to show you yet another game of Paul Morphy, playing against an individual called Ayers. And this game is from the year of 1855 and Paul Morphy plays with the white pieces, so let's start with the game. So Morphy begins with the move e4, we have e5, knight f3, knight c6, so pretty standard, bishop c4 and bishop c5. So this is the Guccio piano or the Italian game. And Paul Morphy here goes for his famous b4, the so-called EVAN'S Gambit. And the idea of the EVAN'S Gambit is that you gambit this pawn away with bishop takes b4. However, you as white gain some nice initiative on the black position. So the idea is to play c3. This is the main move, attacking this bishop, and the bishop has to retreat. In this game, bishop a5 was chosen. This is also, I think, the best and most popular move nowadays. And now the idea of white going for the immediate d4. So white now has this knight center for the moment. Black only has one pawn in the center. And in the game of chess, it's often better if you have more pawns in the center than your opponent, which will grant you some more space and some more initiative that way. So in this game, the move d6 was played. However, I think the main move here is just e takes d4. And after castles, there are some interesting variations. However, as I said, d6 was played in this game, and here Morphy goes for one of the main ideas in the EVAN'S Gambit, which is going for queen b3. And the idea is that you build this nice battery with the queen and the bishop, and you aim at that weak f7 pawn, and yeah, kind of threaten to take it in the next move. So this is why Ayers went for queen e7, just defending this little guy here, so the pawn can't be taken. And in this position, Paul Morphy goes for the move d5, and he attacks this knight. So there are some squares which are, I think, available for the knight. This b8 square is, I think, a bit better than this d8 square, because I think the knight can reroute a bit easier. But yeah, Ayers goes for a different idea. He goes for knight d4. And you might be wondering, why can't I just take this knight? I mean, the pawn is staring at it. Well, the pawn is pinned by the attack on the king from the bishop. So this pawn is unable to move, and this is why this knight is for the moment perfectly fine here. So in the next move, Morphy played kind of an interesting idea. He went for bishop b5. By the way, just taking the knight would be also completely possible, and after takes castles, the game would continue as normal. However, I think Morphy wanted to kind of set a nice trap for his opponent. So the trap is that after bishop b5, you can take with the knight, but it's no good for your position. So after queen takes b5, you're of course in check and your bishop hangs, and in every variation you lose the piece. So this is, I think, why Morphy went for this move. However, Ayers goes for the simple c6, attacking the bishop and asking Morphy, what is your plan? And Morphy now plays knight takes d4, also in this position. It's quite a bit tricky, because now if you take on b5, then you take with the knight, and I already marked it. You have this nice pawn center here, and these pawns are really taking a lot of important squares away from the black position, and you can play against this weak d6 pawn in the middle and late game. So this would be a favorable endgame for the white pieces. However, this wasn't played in the game. Instead of c takes b5, e takes d4 was played. So Ayers wins back the piece, and now we have d takes c6. So grabbing the pawn that was attacking this bishop, and now you can see that Morphy created this nice structure where the bishop is behind the pawn, and this is what we call in chess, a possibility for a discovered attack, or a discovered check, better say. So if this pawn would move, for example, by taking the b7 pawn or going to c7, then the king would be in check, and black would have to waste the move, for example, by stepping out of the check or maybe blocking. And in the time lost, white would have been able to, for example, capture on a8. This is a pretty strong motive in the game of chess, and I think this is also why Morphy went for this variation, because he saw that at the end of it, he would end up with this nice structure. But of course, in a game of chess, often every gain comes with a loss, and in this case, Paul Morphy gives the pawn back again by admitting that queen captures on e4 isn't that strong in his opinion. So after queen captures on e4 with check, of course, we have king d1. And now we have bishop g4. And bishop g4 is very interesting because you can just block the check with f3. And now your bishop and queen are attacked. However, I think Ayers smelled blood in the water and he goes for it. So we have bishop takes f3. Boom. Going for the king and for the pawn. And of course, the only real move you have here is g takes f3. And after queen takes f3, black could possibly catch this rook in the corner. However, there are some complications. So first we have king c2, of course. So what would happen if we had queen takes h1? Well, then we encounter this important motif that I talked about. It's c takes b7. And it's a discovered check, so the king has to move. So let's say to f8. Then, of course, we take the rook in the corner with check, promote to a queen. And after queen takes a8, materially speaking, this position is equal. However, I think I would prefer white in this position just because of the fact that we have this knight, this nice bishop here, which is really strongly aiming at the black position. We have the queen nicely positioned. We can maybe take the pawn even. Be a pawn up. Also, the bishop can join here and join the attack. So this is quite dangerous in my opinion for black. So this is sort of why you cannot take on h1. So instead of taking on h1, we got the move queen e4 with check again. So we have king b2, and after king b2, black just played a massive blunder. It's the biggest blunder in the position. What do you have to play here? You sort of have to play b takes c6. This is sort of the only move, and I already marked it. You still have the pressure on c3. Your bishop is attacked by the pawn, and this strong discovered check, this preparation for it, is not that active anymore. You also can attack because, of course, the queen is defending the pawn, so it's quite unclear. However, in the game, Ayers sort of played this move that relieved the pressure on c3 a bit preemptively, as we will see. He played bishop takes c3. So yeah, it seems like a good move. You just take the pawn, and after knight takes c3 and pawn takes c3, you sort of relieve the pressure of the white position. But it's really not that good. Why is it not good? First of all, materially speaking, this position is completely equal. Ayers has 5 pawns and 2 minor pieces, and Morphy has 3 minor pieces and 2 pawns. So since it's a middle game and these pawns aren't really that valuable, you could already say that the extra minor piece, so for example this bishop or this bishop, it doesn't really matter, is better than this undeveloped knight. So this is the first point. Materially speaking, just by the looks of the points, it's equal, but by the activity of the points participating in the game, it's already better for white. So what are the differences why this position is also bad for black? Well, you have the immediate danger or threat of rook e1, and this would come with a attack on the queen and the king, and the queen would have been pinned to the king, which is a really bad thing because this rook, of course, is worth 5 points. This queen is worth 9 points, and you would lose material. You also have to keep an eye on queen takes g7. There's this discovered check, so there's a lot of stuff happening in this position, and you really have no good way of dealing with this. And Ayers sort of played the best move that is still in the position, which is long castles. So after long castles, Morphy still goes for his rook e1 idea, attacking the queen, and we have queen d5. And now the second motive that I talked about comes into play, which is c takes b7. This time, this bishop doesn't give the check, but the queen gives the check. So Morphy grabs the pawn, black grabs it back, so we have king takes b7. We have rook b1 now, so setting up some second or maybe third discovered check on the king, and now we have knight f6. But knight f6 is a bit too late. I mean, the position was completely lost before, but now it's getting really bad. And Morphy plays a Morphy move, a move that is so typical from the young player, which is Bishop C6, and it's a check. And it's an attack on the queen. So your only real good move is just accepting the sacrifice. So we have a queen takes on c6, taking the bishop. Materially speaking, Ayers is even up 1 minor piece, so 3 points of material. But now the idea of Morphy becomes, just obvious. King a1 with check. So he uses, again, this motif of the discovered check. And after king a1 with check, we have king c7. So hiding behind the queen, maybe offering a queen trade, but Morphy, of course, declines it by playing queen a5 with check again. So we have king c8, and we have queen takes a7. Now you can see that the white queen is very active, takes away a lot of spaces for the black king. So the king can't really teleport over there, but it's still a good way to see the queen in this direction here. It's a strong queen, and Ayaz played the move knight d7. It makes sense. You want to also control the b8 square, because let's say you play something else, maybe something like h6, then of course rook b8 would be checkmate. The king again has no squares to enter, and this would be checkmate. So in this case, knight d7 makes sense. However, now after the move bishop d2, Ayaz resigned this position. And why do we resign here? I mean, the biggest threatened position is rook e to c1, or maybe even rook b to c1, but this rook isn't really doing anything. So rook e to c1, again skewering queen and king. This would be completely winning for white. And I mean, you cannot even find a move here. There's just so much lurking in this position. This bishop can join the attack. Still, this knight cannot move because, of course, rook b8 is checkmate. Yeah, this is why Ayaz resigned in this position. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to, you can subscribe to my channel here. And also, you can watch my most popular video on a game of Paul Morphy right here. So, again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.